Oh boy, here we are. It's the nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. They will bring it right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or get down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of your order. Hi, Aaron.
Yo.
How you doing, buddy?
Listen, I got the little one down on a day that it's been me and the kids for most of the day.
That wasn't fun? Plus having to watch this game?
Yeah,
in
no.
the process?
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm getting
Yeah.
the tweet up.
Oh, yeah, I was doing that too. Hilarious ad. Very original. I've never heard that one before. Yeah, we're just here to preview the NKU game. Good one, Josh. I wish that was the case. West Virginia 42, Cincinnati 21. Make no mistake, it was not that close. At one point, it was 42-21, and in all the talk of complimentary football, Aaron, honestly, I felt it came down to kind of one thing. Like it was 21-0. Things look very bleak. Cincinnati goes down the field and scores. There's a minute 30-ish left in the first half, and they were going to get the ball back out of halftime. And realistically, you think, okay, get to half, and then who knows? You get the ball back. Maybe you get some momentum. You carry the momentum over from the first half. You put some points on the board on that first drive of the second half, and now it's 21-10 or it's 21-14. And you feel like, okay, maybe we got ourselves a ball game in the second half. And West Virginia goes down the field like they were the like one of Urban Meyer's read option Tim Tebow teams. I mean, it was like 40 seconds, and it felt like they screwed around and wasted 30 seconds of time on that drive. And that makes it 28-7 at halftime. And it was a wrap from there. I mean, just absolutely no chance. The defense was dreadful. They give up 424 yards on the ground, 204 yards to a freshman running back, who also had a 75-yard receiving touchdown. So 279 yards for one guy, who was playing in place of their star player, C.J. Donaldson, was basically in a like spot duty role today. And it didn't matter because West Virginia did not have to use him at all. Their best player rushed 5 times for 20 yards.
Not really.
And didn't have to see the field. Like, they didn't have to play him one snap other than White got hurt for a play or like the end of a drive and then came back in the next drive. Defensively, that was the game that popped in my head was that felt like Navy in Fickle's first year. Remember, they had like 600 rushing yards, and it just was they got whatever they wanted. It didn't matter. But Satterfield said they in the post game said that they basically called everything in the playbook on defense. Nothing worked. The quarterback ran at will The running back ran at will, and when they needed to pass, how about this? Like we're going to focus on the running game, the run defense here for a lot of the day. They had 6 receivers catch passes on the day. The quarterback only went 12 of 19. We're back to the beginning of the season where a guy completes 12 passes in a dominating, essentially a dominating performance.
210 yards.
Yeah, well, listen, the long for each guy, 20, 12, 16, 75, 28, and 20. The last 3 guys only caught one pass. One pass for 75 yards, one pass for 28 yards, one pass for 20 yards. They just did whatever the hell they wanted offensively, and Cincinnati had nothing to stop.
I think this game this game seals the deal, though. West Virginia can't fire him.
I mean, do they think they can get Jimbo? Because if they think they can get Jimbo, they absolutely can and will.
That would be outrageous if your coach has a potential to get 8 wins and a bowl game and potentially win a bowl game, and you still fire him?
Again, like Chris Anderson said, it would be 8 wins against every team that they beat had a losing record. They got pasted several times against the better teams.
Look, I'd take every win against a team with a losing record at this point.
Yeah, but you're not in West Virginia's position where this guy is. Listen, if Scott Satterfield does that in year 4 and the year before he was 3-9, there still will be people that are like, oh, great, you can beat the bad teams, but you don't matter. You can't beat the good teams. We want something different. I don't think they can. I wouldn't fire him. But Jimbo Fisher is sitting out there. He's from West Virginia. He had said before he would like to coach West Virginia.
Maybe
it's a cold, hard world out there in college coaching, Aaron.
Maybe he's just being polite.
What else? The great thing about where Jimbo's at, he can double dip because of his contract with Texas A&M. Like normally in coaching contracts, wherever you go next, they pay whatever your salary they agree to comes out of the place that you were at before. So like if he went somewhere and got $6 million a year, they would take the $10 million he was getting, the new school would pay $6 million and the old school would pay $4 million, and everybody would be happy. But Jimbo's contract with Texas A&M is, nah, fam, I get my money. And I can go somewhere else and get their money. So if I were him, I wouldn't take any time off either. I'd go get some more money because under the old way, you're making the same money either way, right? Like you're getting your $10 million, but even if you coach somewhere, you don't make a dime different unless somebody agrees to pay you more than that $10 million. Under this scenario, I can go get 6 or 7 more a year on top of the 10 a year that Texas A&M has to pay me for 7 more years, 8 more years, whatever the hell it is. It's wild. But anyhow, I wouldn't think they will fire him. But if we hear next week West Virginia's moving on from Neil Brown, I would not be surprised even a little bit. But let's go back to talking about the game.
This conversation was actually entertaining, though.
Yeah, it's fair. Maybe we'll come back to it. My number one point in this game was you have to control the line of scrimmage, and they got their ass kicked. Offense, defense, it didn't matter. West Virginia's offensive line pushed Cincinnati's front 7 around. I mean, there were a couple of those runs, even the quarterback runs, that I don't understand how it continues to happen and we don't see something different. How we don't see, I know everybody they know the buzzwords. Oh, put a spy on him. Like it doesn't even matter.
The quarterback averaged 14 per carry on 11 carries.
Yeah. Sure, put a spy on him. Do something different because teams have figured out this defense. They want to get up the field. and the quarterback takes 2 steps, waits for the defensive the edges to get up the field, and gone. And there's nobody in the middle of the field, and they just run and run and run and run and run and run and run.
Did they run a 3-3-5 at Louisville last year?
It's not a 3-3-5. They ran this defense. So technically it's 3 defensive linemen, 2 middle linebackers, a rush end, and then the dog position, that rush end that Greshik is, that's considered a linebacker, and then Pace, the star position, that is also considered a linebacker. So it's however you want to look at it. If you want to count the rush end as a lineman, it's a 4-3. If you want to count him as a linebacker, it's a 3-4. But they don't play with 5 defensive backs unless you're considering Pace, the star position, as a defensive back. The thought, the theory is you're versatile enough to be able to execute all of those things. Like Greshik coming up and being a pass rusher makes it a 4-3. Pace guarding a slot receiver makes it a 3-3-5. Both of them being linebackers against the run game makes it a 3-4. They're not good at any of it. They weren't today. They were a disaster in every facet. Couldn't stop the run, couldn't stop the pass, couldn't stop the quarterback. It didn't matter. West Virginia did whatever the hell they wanted for 4 quarters today offensively.
Yeah, you thought after that first drive where they missed the field goal, you're like, okay, well right. done. Well done.
Well, yeah, West Virginia wins the coin toss, takes the ball. We got a glimpse because they moved. The first 3 plays had them in field goal range.
They did.
So, but then they missed the field goal, and you're like, okay, well, that's maybe there's a little momentum here to be gained. They come out, they get to a 4th and 2, I think, and decide to punt, which I liked the move because it felt like, okay, we're gonna play some field position. This looks to be a game where both teams want to run the ball, they want to pass like when they have to, or opportunistic in the air. Maybe let's try to not be as overly aggressive as they have been in the past against a team that likes to run. You want to play field position. That's the by the book thing to do. They did. They pinned them inside the 20. Didn't matter. Straight down the field, touchdown. I don't understand how the defense can be that. I mean, I understand. 1, they couldn't tackle. They couldn't when they did pass, there was very little pressure. When they tried to pressure, he took off and ran. Like West Virginia was 2 steps ahead of them. West Virginia's offense was 2 steps ahead of this defense all day. You have to go back to 2017 to remember a defense being this bad. They were an atrocity today.
In most of these touchdown drives, they weren't short drives. The first one in the first quarter, 91 yards on 14 plays. The second one, 4 plays, 85 yards. The third touchdown drive was 2 for 40. The fourth one, 4 for 75. Then you have 12 for 88, 6 for 74. The one that they were intercepted on was 5 for 52. So, I mean, none of these were like just quick 50 outside of the 1, 2 for 40. The rest were long drives. They weren't short little.
Yeah, I mean, even the one at the end of the half, they went 70 or 80 yards, I think. The one right after the touchdown, 75 yards. And
the last one of the half was 4 for 75 yards, yeah.
Yeah, 4 plays, 75 yards. Like I said, it felt like they could have done that in 12 seconds if they needed to. Remember the Bills-Chiefs game?
They did it in 40.
I know, that's what I'm saying. 40 felt like they wasted 30 seconds, Aaron. It was Bang, 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 touchdown. What the fuck just happened? The linebackers stink. The corners stink. The safety stink.
It was a very good day to have to run after my 1-year-old and be distracted from watching this game. I legit, if I didn't have to talk about it, I may have actually turned it off for Bluey.
If I didn't have to talk about it, I would have left the Holy Grail at halftime. But that would have meant I was in my car for most of the rest of the game, dropping my dad off, and then getting home. I would have missed the rest of the game. I would have had Dan and Jim on the radio, but this is again playing with the lead. West Virginia played with the lead the whole game, and they just bullied Cincinnati.
Yeah, when Cincinnati, we talked about the drives. I talked about the drives that West Virginia had. Cincinnati, some of their drives, 3 for 9 yards, 5 for 21 yards, 4 for 6 yards, 3 for -3 yards. The touchdown was 11 for 75, then 5 for 26 yards, 8 for 25 yards, 3 for 4 yards, 6 for 96 that led to a touchdown in the third quarter. And then the only drive of the fourth quarter was 10 for 83 yards. And that came after the 12 and a half. Was it a 12? Yeah, I guess. No, not a 12 and a half. 8.5 minute drive that they intercepted on. But the only drive in the fourth quarter was the touchdown, 10 for 83 yards.
Yeah, I mean, they were just abysmal in almost every phase. I mean, I can't think of one phase that I feel like you can come away from this game and go, at least they had that working. Nope. They didn't do any of it. I mean, Fletch had 6 punts, 3 of them inside the 20. His long was only 48. He averaged 41.8. Not a disastrous day, but also not great, Bob. It's like just it was hard to watch, man. It was hard to watch because you could just feel almost immediately West Virginia would, like, whatever it was, West Virginia had it, and Cincinnati did not. Whatever you want to call it. Effort. I mean, they got their ass kicked. Well, and that is also part of it. Like, you play a team on senior day that got their ass kicked last week. They were coming in. You had to be, again, we go back to what we talked about. I don't know, whatever. Was it the Iowa State game, I think? Or Oklahoma State, one of those two. I think it was Iowa State. Where it's like, you have to know that team's coming to fight. You have to know that West Virginia, after getting destroyed by Oklahoma last week, they're back home. It's senior day. They're coming for a fight. And Cincinnati showed up to watch Netflix and got punched in the mouth when somebody opened the door. Boom! They got punched in the mouth. And that was it. You were going over to see your side piece and her boyfriend was there and beat your ass before you didn't even get through the frame of the door. You're just in the hallway of the apartment complex, bloody, got your ass kicked.
I guess if you're trying to take anything out of this,
I'm not.
Lichty looked all right in the touchdown drive that he led. A shame that he wasn't able to punch it in there at the end of that drive. But
they say it was the play that he ran and got down to the 1. I don't think so. I think it was a couple plays, like a little earlier. He got a Goldberg spear, like right at the line of scrimmage. We were talking about it sitting at the Holy Grail, and they showed him over on the sidelines with the training staff. And I was doing the Tommy Boy thing, like not here and not here, but right here. Right here is where it hurts.
But I thought he looked pretty good there, and then happy that Shimon was able to find the end zone twice.
Yeah. Nick says need to talk about $8 since he likes the Holy Grail. Some of that goes back to since he reigns. Like, Not just the money that you're getting by buying the Cincy Light, but on top of that, Holy Grail donates an additional 50 cents from every beer back to Cincy Reigns. So the price is going to be a little bit higher because they're taking the money and giving it back to, if you want a cheap Cincy Light.
Also, I'm pretty sure that anything you go to from stadium to stadium has higher prices in general because the rent is not cheap down there.
Why not give Drogosh some snaps at the end of the game? He's not taking snaps with the first and second team. He's the third team quarterback. Emery and Lichtenberg are taking the reps with the ones and twos. You are not going to bring a guy that all season has not been repping with the ones and twos. You're not. I mean, what good does that do Brady Drogosh? To go out there with a bunch of guys he doesn't rep with a bunch of guys he doesn't have much familiarity or connection with, and just say, okay, kid, good luck. It doesn't do anybody. I don't think it does anybody any good. I don't think it serves any purpose. Especially on a day where you were getting destroyed.
At this point, I'm not
I know
worried
you
about.
Don't care. You're ready to fire everybody. Fire all the players.
I'm not ready. Well,
yes,
I just don't think that I don't think you hurt anything by putting anybody out there at this point.
You hurt his development. He's not ready for it.
Maybe.
But you don't care whether he's ready for it, or that's the difference. You don't have the interest of the kid in mind. You have the interest in Aaron as a fan, and what Aaron wants to see as a fan in mind.
Unless he actually, when you're throwing the entire defensive book at people, there's no reason that you shouldn't be putting other defensive players out there.
Okay, what's that have to do with Brady Drogosh?
Well, what I'm getting at, let me finish my point, is, again, like, you're down 42-21. There's zero pressure on you at all at this point to do anything. Like, just go out and get to see what some actual game speed is like. I don't care if you've taken reps with these guys or not. At the end of the day, it's football. It's receivers. It's tight ends. I don't care. Just put him out there.
He's not where he needs to be.
It's not going to hurt his development taking 10 snaps.
Okay, Aaron. Okay. The problem is they can't pass right now. Like, that is the issue. And he is not ready to go out and be a passer at this level. That is where the development needs to happen. So what is it? What good is it going to solve to put him out there and have him hand off or run into a line and get hit? Okay.
To see game speed.
He's handing the ball off.
So next year, if you do get some snaps next year under the lights, that's not the first time you've been under the lights.
It's not. Brady Lichtenberg is better this year because he got meaningless snaps last year when in blowouts.
I would think that there's something to that. Yes.
I don't. I think it's something fans hold on to. Now, if he was ready to play and he had been with the first and second string and he had been running the game plan, and that's the other thing people don't realize, like, the third string is not out there game planning. Like, they barely see the field at practice.
Yeah, they're usually.
Brady's not running scout, but he's not taking first and second team reps. So you're just running the guy out there. You're doing it just to say you did it.
Why wouldn't you have had? Why wouldn't you have had?
Who cares?
Let me talk. Jesus Christ, Chad. Why wouldn't you have had Brady Drogosh running your scout team for a quarterback who runs? That's the only thing I was trying to get out, Chad, as you're yelling at me. Who cares? Christ, man.
Okay, so he runs the scout team. What is?
I don't know. That was the question I was trying to ask. You made it a bigger deal than it needed to be.
I don't know if he ran the scout team. I'm saying he's not like the standard scout team quarterback. That is generally a walk-on. I'm sure he has taken some reps with them. The problem is, I don't think that Cincinnati considered the quarterback a running threat, even though he runs 10 to 12 designed runs a game. I didn't see a game plan that said we have to take this guy's running threat away. So if you don't think he's a running threat, then you probably wouldn't put Brady Drogosh in there on the scout team to run anyway.
They made him look like a Heisman candidate.
there's just wide open grass behind the defensive line. There's no second level. It's first level and like 40 yards of grass every time the guy took off.
I don't know. I guess if you're struggling to contain quarterbacks running the ball and you got a guy who runs the ball as a quarterback really well, I think you're doing a disservice if you're not putting him at some point in scout to try and see how you can stop a mobile quarterback.
We don't know, like maybe they're happy with what they've got from the guys that they have on the scout team as runners. I don't know. We're not privy to that like level of decision making, and we're also very rarely at practice. So maybe he did run some scout team. I don't think that matters. It's completely opposite of the point I'm making, that putting him in the game when he doesn't have any reps running the first or second team offense isn't doing the kid any favors.
I don't think, again, my opinion is just simply that it's receivers, it's football, you just throw the ball. And
that's why we do this, and you didn't play football. It's
I did play
football. A lot more complicated
not at the college level, but I did play.
Okay. I just don't think it's fair to the kid if he's not prepared to go out there and be the quarterback to just to satisfy some fans like lust to see him, because everybody loves the backup quarterback. I don't think it's doing him a service to put him out there when he doesn't have any reps doing it. Just so a fan can say, "Oh, I saw Brady Drogosh. Remember those 10 snaps he took? He had that one good throw." Like,
what if he ends up?
Cares?
What if he ends up leading a touchdown drive?
What if he ends up breaking his neck?
That could be any play. What are you talking about?
So could accidentally scoring a touchdown.
That's not.
What if it's a busted?
Apples to oranges. That's not.
What if he throws Aaron? What if he throws a shitty pass and somebody tips it up in the air and somebody from your team runs by it and grabs it and scores a 70-yard touchdown? He didn't learn anything from that.
Yeah, he learns that accidents happen. And BYU won on an accident.
The quarterback didn't learn a damn thing from throwing a bad ball that ended up going for a touchdown. I can promise. I don't think it's right by the kid.
I would agree with you if we were talking about playing for more than 4 games. But
now that's the thing, Steven. If Lichty's banged up, then maybe this week we see Drogosh get more reps with the ones and twos, and you have him ready to go. But you're already playing 2 quarterbacks. So that means you already are in a situation where you have to get 2 guys ready to play with the ones. Where's the time to get Brady Drogosh up to speed when this is what you're already doing? It's not there. And it's not fair to the kid to just go, hey, some people on Twitter and on podcasts think that it's time for you to play, even though we haven't prepared you for this moment. We're going to throw you out there anyway to make those people happy. That's dumb. That's dumb.
Like I said, we will agree to disagree.
It's the same excuses we made for Prater. We didn't make any excuses for Evan. He could. Guess what? Right now, Brady's problems are very much similar to where Evan was. He wasn't developed yet as a passer. And they put him out there, and guess what happened? His shoulder got destroyed, and he can probably never play fucking quarterback again. That's the risk that you run, because the defense knows this kid can't throw yet. This kid is not developed enough to be a passer and keep our defense honest. So every time he's back there, our 6'4", 275-pound defensive linemen and our 6'3", 250-pound linebackers are going to tee off on this guy. And guess what happened to Evan? It basically destroyed his shoulder.
Well, then maybe we should never throw him out there in case he would get injured.
No, you wait until they are developed so that they have the opportunity to actually run. Like, if he can throw, then you can run. It's not just putting a wildcat. That's essentially what you're doing. You're putting a wildcat quarterback out there. Evan wasn't ready as a passer to be the full-time quarterback.
I'm not saying you need to put him out there for a Hail Mary, but you can still run some short stuff with him. I mean, again,
The
we're
defense
just
doesn't have to respect it.
Chad, we're just going to disagree, and that's okay.
Okay.
That's
but
okay.
I'm seeing like that's dumb. It wasn't that Prater didn't develop. He was developing, but he got put on the field before he was developed. And what was the cost? We'll probably never see him play quarterback again. Because guess what? At the end of last season, he couldn't do this. He couldn't lift his arm above his shoulder.
It's not what happens to every quarterback that you put out there for development.
It's what happens to a lot of running quarterbacks if they don't have the ability to keep you honest with their arm. That's why you don't see running quarterbacks in the NFL, Aaron. They get destroyed. They're not a threat. So defenses attack and play downhill. And it happened to Dez when Dez was still developing. And it almost destroyed a season. Because his arm, his shoulder was fucked up from the Ohio State game all the way through to the Memphis game in the conference championship. His shoulder was never right because he wasn't all the way there yet as a passer. They were running him 15 times a game, and he got destroyed. And his arm was a mess. But guess what? He developed. He healed up. He actually developed. And then when he could pass and run, that's why they call it a dual threat quarterback, because you have to do both, or the defense is just going to treat you like a running back and blow you up. I think Brady is going to get there. Right now, I think it is a disservice to him just to keep fans happy. That's all it would be. To throw him out there and say, here's 15 snaps, kid. Good luck.
I know you put Lichtenberg out there today, and he's injured, and I think the fact that we haven't put him out there more in leading up to this in the games that he has appeared in is also equally a disservice at this point in the season. I understand you're trying to get wins, but
you're going to take, as bad as the quarterbacks have been, you're going to take reps away from the two guys that were playing?
No, I'm saying chill out. I'm saying putting Emery back in is doing Lichtenberg a disservice is the point I was making.
Well, they started Lichty today. I think the plan was to play Lichty a lot today. And he got hurt.
I was going back to the last couple games, but yeah, I'm with
you. Well, but what did we talk about the last couple games? Emery played fine. Like, Emery played well in the last two games. To the point that there was no risk reward and whether it was him on the field or Lichty on the field. The UCF game, he was really good. Like, that's why Brady didn't come back in, was because Emery, after the two drives that Lichty took, Emery played his best game of the year. Like, there wasn't a driving force that said we have to get this guy out of there. And then he was good last week against Houston. Today, playing from behind, guess what? He's not a kid that can play from 2 scores, 3 scores behind. He doesn't throw it like that. And Lichtenberg got hurt.
Well, I know. The first, I imagine you probably have the first 3 drives scripted or close to.
I think it's that usually it's like 15, 20 plays. So in this game, it's 5 drives?
That's okay. Well, let's look at the first 4. 3 for 9, 5 for 21, 4 for 6, and 3 for -3. So you accumulated on 15, you accumulated 33 yards.
Yeah.
Whatever you're doing ain't working.
There's no way to tell how offensive linemen are developing in season if they're not playing. I mean, it's practice, and you're getting ready for games, and you're focused on the guys that are going to be out there. We will have plenty of time to get to offensive line development in the spring. So, yeah. Brady had a good catch and run today. Aaron will, you guys know, I've been saying for 3 weeks, if there's one change I would make, it would be Evan Prater would be my starting wide receiver too.
Over D. Wiggins, yeah. You've said that. Mm-hmm.
Regularly. What has D. Wiggins done in a month? He had another play where he quit blocking today on a screen, and the screenplay got destroyed. a little swing out to the right. What has he done? At least with Evan, we've seen him do things. We've seen him catch 2-point conversions and touchdowns, and we've seen him make some plays in the open field. Like the D. Wiggins thing, look. I don't understand how the offense is better with him on the field. He hasn't done anything all season. No problem. Let's see. That's one game, the spring game, with the third string against the third string defense. If this is what the first string defense looked like tonight, how bad do you think the third string defense is? What else you got? You got anything you want to talk about? I know you're filling in for Dave tomorrow on the brunch. I was going to try to like squeeze that in, but I'll be getting ready to head to the basketball game. So
yeah, I'll be doing that, and then BBP. I'll have plenty of space for me to give my opinions here.
You'll give them all tonight and tomorrow, and then on the BBP, you'll just be like, let Royer go, because Royer, I can only imagine what that conversation is going to be on Monday night.
If he hasn't quit on us by then.
He's going to have to work until 1 a.m. again.
I joke. But anyway, let's see. I don't think there's anything really. Trevor Carter, any talk about him at all? I believe Ironton's still in the state championship runnings. I know he doesn't play for them anymore, but I'm pretty sure they're still playing.
Great insight on Trevor Carter.
You're welcome. That's what I'm here for. The hard hitting stuff. That's the talk I have about him. I've had that talk. Hey, the Bearcats got a kid from Ironton as they're playing at Athens High School last weekend.
Yeah,
that was my Trevor Carter talk. Yeah,
they got two. From what I know, he has practiced well as part of the scout team, and I believe I heard he had been starting to get some non-scout team reps, special teams, and like reps, like rotating in with the twos, which I think could be a pretty good sign for him heading into next year. Like, let's face it, man, the linebackers were terrible today. Terrible. How many times they got ran through, ran around, ran past? That's you have to shake your head on that one.
There's just lots of room for development.
We'll talk about threats in 2 weeks, Reed. I'll leave it at that. December 4th? Yeah, December 4th. We'll talk about him December 4th. I don't know. It's hard to fathom a defense being that bad. It really is. I don't know what else to say. They were atrocious.
Limping to the finish line.
Yeah, that's not even limping to the finish line. That's just looking at the finish line and going, hey, there's a bar over there. You guys want to get drunk? Like, the finish line's right there. There's a bar, right? Even closer than the finish line. Let's go to the bar.
Limping to the finish line.
Shaman, great job in, late duty. Emory finding him for a couple touchdowns. They ran the double reverse flea flicker where he almost stepped out down the sideline. And then the little pop pass that they found him in the end zone.
Yep.
Yeah, you guys, we all know here that we're big Shaman Mateer guys at Bearcat Journal.
Yeah, I don't know how long what is it? Nene has 8369 has been in the chat for, but we did bring him up. One of the bright spots.
Yeah, welcome. Xavier Henderson had a nice long catch and run down the sideline. That was nice to see. I thought Corey ran hard, but when you're down 28-7 at the end of the first half, like there's just not going to be,
See, I feel like that's where maybe it's worked before, that you ran the ball and you got a 90-yard touchdown. So maybe you should just keep running it at that point.
Shit. I was hoping there's not a way to do it. I think almost all of the majority of Corey's yards were in the first half. And then Monty had a couple nice runs, and Emery had a nice run in the second half. But Corey was in that, like, he had 13 carries for 56 yards. He was in that like aggressive between the tackles kind of grinded out mode, and that was not a grinded out game. Sure, Reed. What were the plays that were called? I don't know. I don't think it was the play calling that was nearly as bad as it was the overall execution. And when you can't get yardage early and you're playing behind the sticks regularly, you're not going to play well. And some of that, sure, maybe they could have called better plays. I don't pretend to know specifically what plays were called, what assignments were missed, what the quarterback saw and didn't see. The play calling didn't strike me as bad. West Virginia dominating the point of attack struck me as bad. You're going to 3rd and 16 QB draw. If that's the what you have a problem with, knock yourself out. The problem isn't the play call on 3rd and 16, Reed. The play call is having 3rd and 16 twice. That's the problem. You think the defense, if you run whatever this perfect play you have drawn up for 3rd and 16, you think the defense isn't waiting for you to try to throw it 16 yards? If those are the two that come to your mind, you're putting the emphasis on the wrong syllable. The problem isn't bad plays on 3rd and 16. The problem is twice being in 3rd and 16. You're never going to be successful that way. No, that's not what you. Oh, come on.
Ken Willis had an interception in that's two games in a row now.
Yeah, I mean, playing that zone drop 8 coverage. Got a little bit of pressure and forced a bad throw. Another game with no sacks. We haven't even gotten to that. No sacks, 4 tackles for loss. So, as much as West Virginia ran the ball, they certainly weren't deterred by Cincinnati pushing the line of scrimmage. Look, it just comes back to that. Like, we can say this however many times we want. That was a game where they got their ass kicked on the lines on both sides of the ball. The line on the offensive side of the ball didn't do enough to dominate, to control West Virginia's defense, and the defensive line and the linebackers, the front 7 for Cincinnati, got punked.
I do hope next year they have more of a mentality as far as offensive line goes to just hold every play.
Yeah. It's what everybody does in this league.
Just hold everyone.
It did get called, Aaron. It did get called. Cincinnati got a holding call.
Once.
The quarterback changed direction, and they tugged on it at the inside of his jersey. Boom.
And if you're running, how many plays did they run? 46.
51, I think.
I think it was more than that.
No, I looked at it a little bit ago.
Well, they rushed 46.
58. Sorry, 58. 58.
Yeah.
Oh, West Virginia. West Virginia ran 65 plays. Cincinnati ran 58.
There we go.
So
yeah. So if you're running 65 plays though, and you get called for one, I'd take that all day. Hold every play, all 5 of you, every play. Dare them to call it. I don't know. Like we said, 45 minutes here. I'm gonna have to do this again tomorrow morning and figure out what the hell I'm gonna talk about for an hour in regards to this game or close to it.
Yeah.
And then we get Royer, Brent, and the BBP on Monday.
Fortunately, it's Thanksgiving week, and we can
give thanks that this season's almost over.
We'll find something else to talk about. Hopefully, the NKU game will be fun, and we can talk about that a lot on Monday.
Sure.
Bearcats NKU, 2:00 tomorrow, Fifth Third Arena. See everybody there. Thanks for being here, everybody. We'll see you next time. Or maybe we won't. Maybe we'll just quit. It's a nightcap. Maybe we'll go to that bar that's to the left of the finish line.
So close.
Brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.